Christmas, everyone! Welcome to my Christmas movie marathon. I'm here to review Jingle All the Way. This is one of my favorite Christmas movies. I'm not gonna lie. I did like this movie. Okay, it stars Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad. So what Arnold Schwarzenegger, he is part of a business and he seems to make a lot of money. And what he never can do, just sort of like Jack Frost, what he doesn't do is he doesn't spend time with his family as much because he's always working and he's always late for stuff, and he wasn't able to make it for his son's karate class because what he did was there was a traffic jam and then he went the other way and a police officer came onto the road and pulled him over and said, "Okay, am I done? Can we go now?" And he said, because first the officer said, "I'm sorry, can I go? I'm kind of late for my son's karate class." And he said, "Oh, I'm sorry about something." And he said, "I guess you were criticizing me," or something like that. And he said, "I was not criticizing you." Then he said, "Step out of the vehicle." So he walked a straight line and said, "There, are we done now? Can I go?" And he said, "Recite the alphabet," and went A, B, C, backwards. Then later he went and he said, "I didn't make it." So he went to his son's house. There was Phil Hartman in this movie, and Phil Hartman was off of The Simpsons. He was the guy who passed away of homicide, like suicidal or something. He was Troy McClure, and he sung Dr. Zaius, I think, which was a rip-off, not a rip-off, a parody of Rock Me Amadeus with Falco, which I will link both of those videos down in the description, because Falco was a great singer. He also sung Wie Kommissar. He was an Austrian singer. Alright, so getting back to the movie, he tried to apologize to his son, so he apologized and said, "I saw you get yellow." He said, "But you missed blue." He wanted a Turbo Man action figure, so he went from, so next day, he meets Sinbad, he meets Myron, who is Sinbad in this movie. And Sinbad actually was in one of my favorite football movies, Necessary Roughness, which is another movie I will review. I actually watched this today too. Okay, so getting back to this, they were talking, Myron's the mailman played by Sinbad, and he is telling everything that they're owned by like toy companies or something because he watches TV and he's a mailman. They want Slinky dogs and everything, and then the toys break because they're cheap plastic. He's the mailman, so he's always worked up and angry sometimes. And then in this movie they're kind of going at it. They're like getting in fights a little bit. And then, like, Sinbad's running and knocking people over, and he wanted his son wanted Turbo Man as well, so they're looking for it, can't find it. The people were laughing at him, and he said, and then this is what Arnold Schwarzenegger is like, "Where's your Christmas spirit?" That's better. Now there must be a Turbo Man somewhere around here. And he said, "The last one just left. Some lady had a layaway." "Lady? What lady?" Some car of a fur coat." "Fur coat." "I'm sorry, buddy." And he hit him and he said, "Better luck next time, loser." I think he said that. And then he steered a car and made it trip Myron. And he said, "Oh, but baby." And he ran off laughing. And then he found, in the extended version, he found a lady. And he said, "I'll pay you 3 times for what you paid for your bag." And then he got Booster, and he said, "Booster, I don't want Booster." So he threw the bag away. That was funny. And then he found a lady who had it, and he said, "Lady, I need that Turbo Man." She drove off. Yeah, this is a good movie. So one part in this movie, what they did with this movie was they started to go off. He was having the bad time. Ted, played by Phil Hartman, was at his house, and he says, "Hi, Ted." And then one part in this movie. Hold on. That's better. One time, I'm kind of nearsighted, so I have trouble seeing far. I don't. One part in this movie, the next part, he talks to Ted and tells him what to do, and then he ran off. Oh, hold on. Sorry for the inconvenience. Hold on. I got some kind of pain. Oh. Sorry for the inconvenience. My eyes are watering a little bit. Alright. So what happens is he talks to Ted, tells Liz to give her a message, and he's helping her out with the cookies, and he said, "Who told you could eat my cookies?" And he's like, Put that cookie down now. Then what happened was they're going for it. He's talking to Ted to tell Ted to give Liz a message. So then he called Liz, I think he was going to give Liz the message. Then Sinbad comes again, and he said, "Still on the hunt, huh?" And he said, "Yeah." And he said, "Hey, sorry about whacking at the toy store." He wanted to be friends, but then they said, Turbo Man! Because they got more Turbo Man, so they run, you get a ball, you can either get Turbo Man or Booster. So then Arnold Schwarzenegger's running after one of those balls. So he runs over to get the ball, but then he gets attacked because he tried to take it from a girl and he went like that. "Just give me the ball." And they hit him and said, "Get off of her, you pervert." And he said, "I'm not a pervert. I'm just looking for a Turbo Man doll." And then the Santa Claus that came to see him said, "Hey, you want a Turbo Man for Christmas?" And he said, "Forget it. I'm not going to sit on your lap." And he said, "You know what, little boy, with your little attitude, I don't even think I want to give you an interest." Or sorry for the inconvenience. Then they said that was taken this morning. So he goes and he was going to get his Turbo Man. Unfortunately, it was one that wasn't good and it was broken. He said, "Give me my money back," because it was $300. He said, "That would be $300. No! Chocolate kisses! Yes! Dollars!" And then he said, "All cereals look final," when he wants his money back. And he said, "You know what you guys are? Nothing but a bunch of sleazy common in red suits." What did you call us? You heard me right. Common. Something. Thugs. Criminals. In the North Pole, them are fighting words, partner. Put them up." And he said, "Relax, buddy. I'm not about to hit a Santa Claus." And he said, "What are you, chicken? Chick. Bark, 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 bark." He pulls on his beard and smacks him in the face and he flies. And then a bunch more Santa Claus come to fight him. And he's like, "Get him!" And then the ninja Santa Claus went, "Wah! Wah! 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 Wah!" And he picks up a big candy cane and goes, "Shut up!" and smacked him. And then he smacked another one, and then he smacked 4 others and went, "Ha ha ha ha!" Then a big Santa came and he said, "I'm gonna deck your halls, bub." And he hit the Santa Claus. And in the original version, that Santa Claus is like, he broke the big candy cane. But the big funny part is, "I'm gonna deck your halls, bub." Smack. And in the extended edition, he started punching him in the stomach, and then tried to punch him in the face, but then he got his fist twisted and, like, smacked. Really bad, too. But then the little Santa Claus came and started pulling his hair, and then he ducked, and the big Santa Claus went, "No!" And he went, "Pah!" And the big Santa Claus went, "Little buddy!" And because he punched the little Santa Claus, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger's just like, BAM! Punched him right in his face and knocked him over. Because it's like, no! Oh! And it's like, little buddy. And then Arnold Schwarzenegger's like, BAM! Right in his face. He just punched him and knocked him over. And then he was taking others on. He's like, you naughty boy! Another one. And then he said, who's going to be next? And the elf comes up with a taser and tases him in his bottom. And he's like, yeah! Now that was funny. This movie is really funny. I love this movie. And then later, he's just having another long day and calls his dad and he yells at his son. Then he says, always keep your promises if you want to keep your friends. And he said, oh wait. And he said, enough of this. All I hear is Turbo Man. And he was yelling about it. If I don't want to hear anything about, it's Turbo Man. And he said, Jamie, I'm sorry. And he said, what would you know about your keeping promises? You never keep your promises. You never do anything you're going to say ever. And he hung up and they went, damn you, Howard. And he just walked out and had a cup of coffee. Here you go, my man. This will warm you up. That's what they said. And they said, Myron, Sinbad said, Merry Christmas. And I said, you, peace. 'Tis the season to be jolly. And then they were talking. You like finding that doll? No, me neither. And then, so they were talking about what they did. His son had a clubhouse. They had Christmas dinner up there and everything. And he was hero. And then he wasn't too happy. And then Sinbad told him what he wanted. Because his son or his dad never got him what he wanted for Christmas so bad, but his neighbor's dad did, so, you know. And he said he was just a loser with no future, but then he envisioned his son drinking that kind of alcohol in his kind of in his outfit, but then there was a person saying if you can name all 8 of Santa's reindeer, you will be the first one that owns something special, and they said something else. And then they went for it, and Myron was like, my arm! Because he shut his arm, and then he smacked him with the phone, with the payphone, and they said, I got the answer. No, you don't. And he unplugged the phone, and then they all run. Both of them are fighting over it, and he says, oh, you barked up the wrong tree. And he said, he was saying every one of Santa's reindeer and said, I'm having a good time, bye. And then he runs in, breaks in. Cops are called on him. Cops have been called on him more than once because, you know, that first cop, and then he broke the cop's bike and everything, and then the little mirror, and then everything. He goes, he gets the answer. He got the gift certificate for the Turbo Man, and then they ran off, and they were going for more stuff, you know. Then he went back home. So then Howard gets back home, and he goes and steals his neighbor's Turbo Man. And he said, Balthazar, that is Johnny's Turbo Man. And then they got irritated with him and pissed off. They said, you can't bench press your way out of this one. And then he thought, and then he bought alcohol. He gave alcohol to the reindeer his neighbor had. But then he said, earlier he said, Howard, they say it might get icy later. Maybe you should wrap some chains around those tires. Maybe it says wrap some chains around you. What? And he said, hi. The funny thing about this part is, so he actually says, it's time I start keeping my promises. And then he went home, or he went to the parade, but he was dressed up as Turbo Man, so he picked Jamie to win, to get the prize of the Turbo Man. and his neighbor's son thought it was him. But then at the end, they're going. Demental comes. Myron snuck in, and then he punched Turbo Man, and then Turbo Man used the turbo disc and shot him, and then he threw the demon team, the evil henchmen, and he took them down later. And then he said, "What you gonna do now, kid?" That's what Myron said. And then Jamie kicked him in the balls, and he went, "Oh, oh," and then they ran off. And he kicked him right in his nuts. That's gotta hurt. So then they ran. So then, that's not gonna feel pleasant. And then they were running. And he said, "Uncle Myron wants to talk to you." He said, "Give me the doll." He said, "Never." And earlier, Booster said, "Hey, buddy, this ain't the way we rehearsed it. You know what? Nobody likes you, Booster." Bam! Punched him, and they all said, "We don't like you. We hate you, Booster." And they started punching him. And then the other thing was, he goes, the Arnold Schwarzenegger, Howard, that is, runs or starts flying, and he says, "It's turbo time," and then he lets go of the jetpack, and he starts going, "Ah!" I was actually watching that with three friends I have, and they started to laugh. So we were watching this, and in the end, a tree, bars falling down, and Jamie's like, "Ah!" and Myron's like, "Ah!" They're all getting scared, and then he said, "Turbo Man, use your turbo ray. Come on." Yeah. And he gets out of the way. What's his name does? Myron. So then Myron gets hit when the rain comes back, and he says, "Victory is mine," because he took the Turbo Man. He said, "VICTORY," and he falls, and he said, "I got one! I finally got one!" Then the cops came, and he was like, smiled, and then he went, "Turbo Man, help!" and he went, "Jamie!" and he flew and caught him. And then he wasn't happy. Jamie wasn't. And he said, "I wish Dad could have come here and see me fly and all, but he didn't come, and it's all my fault. He's mad at me. We had a fight on the phone, and I kind of yelled at him," and he said, "Oh, Jamie, your dad is not mad at you. He loves you more than anything in the whole wide world. You're his all-time favorite person." And he says, "How do you know all that?" And he said, "Well, who would know better than me?" And he went, "Dad?" And his wife went, "Howard?" And he said, "I'm right here." And she went, "Howard." And he said, "Oh, Liz, you two mean more to me than anything. So sorry it took me. So I haven't been show up lately." Something like that. And he says, "I know I've neglected both of you. I know I've kind of neglected both of you, but no more. I love you. I love you both." And he said, "Jamie, what's going on here?" "Look, Jamie's dad's Turbo Man." That's the neighbor. And he said, "Let's get out of here." "Dad, you smell like barf." Because he hit on Liz, and then Liz smacked him with eggnog, and he went, "Well, that didn't go as well as I had hoped." And yes, he had glasses in that movie. So then, in the extended edition, I don't know everything about the extended edition, but he put the tree on the star on the top of the tree, but then it says, "You know, I've been thinking, what you went through today, it really shows how much you care about Jamie. It got me thinking." "What? What'd you get me?" And it said, "Here we go again," and he opened up his mouth just like he did when he realized he didn't get the Turbo Man. But yeah, good holiday movie. I give this 7 or 8 out of 10. I used to have it on VHS, but something was wrong with it, and I haven't found it since. And then I ordered this online when I was 16. I got all 3 of these. These movies I've all reviewed. I got all 3 of these when I was 16. Alright, so stay up to date and subscribe. All 3 of these are really funny. Alright. Bye. Peace. Merry Christmas. Bye. Thank you for watching. Bye.